Hi, welcome back to the Make Room show. I am thrilled that you're here today. We have a very special episode. I'm here with my good friend Amy Wheaton.
Hi, Jen.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
So, we have a big announcement you may have seen on social media that we've just actually launched a brand new company together called Elevated Escapes. And I want to inform all of you today what that company is about, but also we're going to be sharing lots of cool tips. Amy's going to tell us some tips for decorating, for refreshing your space, and just things that are really fun to kind of do in your space before the holidays are upon us. So thank you for being here. I'm going to start from the beginning because we have a kind of an interesting story on how we met and how we got here today. We never saw this actually coming. I didn't anyways, and it happened pretty fast.
Yeah.
One of my clients just that we worked with, Denise, said to me the other day, she's like, wow, this really came about fast. So we met about what, 3 years ago?
Almost 3 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So go ahead and tell your version.
So we were in Georgia at a baseball tournament. Both of our boys play baseball, and we actually are both from the same area and grew up not far from one another, but we didn't know each other. And so we were at a tournament, and my husband already knew Jen, and we were talking outside the car, and it was 100 degrees, and I was like, get in. And she did, and that was really from there. Was fast friends right after
Yes.
that.
I remember the first thing you said to me? Do you remember what you said?
Yeah, I like your sunglasses.
Yeah. And I was like, I could be friends with her. She notices things like sunglasses.
Yep.
But I mean, we didn't actually get to hang out a ton that week, only at games because we were staying like a little bit further apart than we would have if we had planned that nowadays.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
But it was still a really great way to meet. And it was awesome, I think, because I was getting ready to send my baby off to college. It was their junior year. You were in the same boat. So I think what helped us form a friendship quickly is we had the time available.
Yeah.
Because we're not at a stage of life where we're trucking little kids around, or really when you are a baseball mom, a sports mom, a lot of your free time was taken up. And once senior year was done and the boys went off to college, we found that we had a lot of space in our calendar where it used to be taken up by those activities that the boys were in.
I agree. We have a distance between us too, like an hour in terms of where we live from one another. And even that hasn't really hindered our friendship in any way. It's actually been pretty easy to keep it going. And it's just the season. You were meant to be in the season.
We're definitely meant to be friends in the season. And I think the fact that we're both entrepreneurs, we have flexible schedules, which helps.
Yes, for sure.
So we can just meet on a random weekday and do something fun. And luckily our husbands can too.
Yeah, definitely.
And now we drag the dogs along with us.
Yes.
The babies of the home. But yeah, so that was kind of an interesting thing. And once we became friends, we were talking a lot about our jobs and how we look at space, and we kind of, played around with each other's homes a little bit. And then you came down with me for like a girls' weekend in Florida and helped me kind of polish up my condo down there.
Yeah, it was very on a whim.
Yes.
But it worked out really well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we did that. And then somewhere along the way, we decided we were going to work together. I think it was my client, Denise. She needed an interior designer, because I feel like we could probably both say that. Like, I dabble in design, you dabble in organizing.
Yeah.
You get put into positions with different homes where you feel like you're supposed to, put both hats on, but you don't feel like you're as good at one as you should be.
Right.
And so it's kind of like we each have our lanes of expertise, but I think what was cool about it when we took on Denise's project, first of all, it was fun because we did like an extreme home makeover, and they were in Florida and they came home and we surprised them. So that was awesome.
That was a great project.
Yeah, that was fun. But I think what was interesting is like even working together. So it's like putting the two concepts of design, organization, and design back, marrying the two, you can take it to another level.
Yes.
So one thing that sticks out to me as an example is that I know from working with Denise and Tim that they like to have a lot of things on their end tables and their coffee tables. They're very avid book readers. And so there's usually a stack of books along with some other stuff. And what might be beautiful in the space for tables might not be functional.
Yes.
And so I was able to say, hey, no, I really think we need drawers because I want it to be a clear, free surface. And once we, kind of went back and forth with furniture ideas that you were picking out and the design aspect of it, we made sure, I said, one of the things that's important to me for them is every single thing has a home. It doesn't just look beautiful.
Right.
It actually can be put away easily, which means the maintenance will be simple.
Right. And that means like you don't have to walk far to put something away or to get something. And I think in that project, especially having you say, this is exactly what they need, let me focus in on a visual approach, but also a functional approach. We didn't waste any time. I wasn't looking for things that weren't going to work. And just having that expertise with the list of what we needed to look for actually saved them time, money, and us a lot of energy to get it right.
Yeah, it was the first time I could see how this would make both of our jobs so much easier and more efficient and beneficial to the client.
Yeah.
So you're not just, and let's talk about before this in the design world. So I was always asking Amy questions about design because I deal with all the stuff and the things. And when you're doing a remodel or, even just design in general, the belongings have to be moved out of the way.
Yeah.
But what's the point in my mind to have the beautiful space designed if you're just going to fill it up with more clutter and it's going to take over the beauty of the newly designed space?
Right.
That's kind of how I see it.
Exactly. And a lot of my clientele come to us and they're redesigning a new space. And then, in the contracting world, you're assigning them, you have to have this packed up and moved out before a certain date so that we can get going. And we can't be moving things from room to room. It's the more efficient that they do that. It saves them time and money too. And getting your expertise in that, even that section of things, is definitely a good bridge.
Yeah.
I'd say.
Yes.
And a lot of clients get overwhelmed at that stage because we're working towards something that they can't really see yet, and so they're trying to imagine what we're going to do with their space, and they're trying to wrap their head around certain explanations of how things are going to be. And all of a sudden they're excited about that part, but they're not thinking, where am I putting everything? And that's one of my first questions to them is, what kind of organization do you need? I don't offer the organizational
Right.
piece to it, but we consider it like
Mhm.
heavily, because you can't just design a space without knowing where things are going to go, especially kitchens, especially kitchens.
Right.
And master bedrooms,
Mhm.
definitely. So it definitely, there's a big crossover there.
Yeah. And it's so funny because I think when you think of organization and putting things away, you forget that now there is a gigantic industry out there creating product for storage, for containerizing, for all those things that can make it look like a more design project from the inside out. So it's
Yes.
almost like if you picture the body, it's like you're looking at what we see walking down the street, and I'm looking at the guts inside of the body.
Yes, that's
So,
exactly what it is.
yeah, and why not make the inside just as beautiful as the outside?
Mhm.
So, because as a homeowner, you're looking in the insides every day. Maybe your guests aren't as per se, but you are, and you
Yeah.
need to, and that's where the calmness comes in design to me is when you can easily find what you're looking for. You can put things back when they get out of place. It's not stressful to live in the space.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Just coming from that background, we had the 8 kids, and I would design something, and I was always in the back of my mind is, how is this going to work so that it stays looking like this?
Mhm.
Because if you're not planning the inside,
Mhm.
your outside's going to quickly be cluttered and not look the way it was intended to look.
Right.
So I always had that thought in the back of my head. And I'm a shover. So like if I can have a lot of space to put things away, even if it's not fully organized, I will do that. But then the problem with that becomes, where is it? And how can someone else find it? And how am I telling them
Mhm.
where it is quickly to get it out? And with managing a big family, I needed to be able to do that. I wish I would have known you way back then.
Yes,
I've learned so
you
much.
did hear correctly, ladies. She has 8 kids. So I always joke that whatever organizing skills I had before I became a mom, it was like the real test is, can I keep the house organized with kids? So I always think, you get better and better at organizing,
Yeah.
more people in there, or it just becomes more of a disaster. So the what we're actually doing with the elevated escapes is we're marrying these two services together,
Mhm.
but we're also really excited to niche. And I just want to give a kind of the backstory of the niching is, once Amy helped me with my condo in Florida, I started looking, we both have got purchased investment properties
Yeah.
since we've met. And so we're constantly talking about turning over these investment properties or making them turnkey or staging them. It's just like a never ending conversation. And for my houses in Florida, it makes me think about design differently because it's not all of our personal belongings.
Right.
It's investment property. There's people that need to move in and out. And so we decided it makes it easy because you are going to be my neighbor in Florida.
Yes, I am.
So
Very
that helps.
excited.
Yes. But the bottom line is that we're niching to people that really they buy this investment property and they want, that's the first thing you do. You get the key and you're thinking, how much money can I make off this? I want to hurry up, get it on Airbnb, VRBO, whatever platform you're using, but you have to stop and think, how am I making this the most profitable it can be? And the very first thing I always see, and I have stayed in so many Airbnbs, which I will scroll right through if it doesn't look like an escape, like a
Yeah.
place I actually want to spend time in.
Yeah.
And I think that, you and I have both talked about with traveling so much that we love our homes.
Mhm.
So if I'm not going to feel comfortable or enjoy being in a different space, why would I pay to go there when I could just stay home? And so let's talk about a little bit the benefit of using this type of service before you put your investment property on the market.
Right. I feel like if you're looking at it right from the beginning, especially if you're just considering purchasing, you're looking at your property and then you already know what your expectation is. So you know that you want a certain amount of income from that and so on and so forth. So given that, when we come in and we're looking at it, we want to take into consideration the whole package. So by doing that, we're able to set it up so that you can have the max capacity, but it doesn't look like you're shoving people into a space. It's still enjoyable. You're looking at the quickest turnover because you don't want to be paying big fees to a cleaning company or a turnover company that is you're just wasting time and money and energy. Or if you're doing it yourself, you want that really fast turnover as well. And from there, we want the visual to be amazing. We want to consider anything local flair that goes into
That part I'm
that.
excited about.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
The extra touches, like local flair could be a piece of artwork.
Yeah.
It could be a cute, set of dishes that are hand painted. I mean, it doesn't have to be anything extravagant, but it's something to say, this is where you are. You're right now, you have escaped to this place.
Yes.
And what makes it different than all the other places you've been?
Right.
Could you give examples of what other things you're thinking about?
In terms of
Like the local stuff
the
that we might
local
want to pick up?
flair.
Yeah.
I am very artsy, obviously. So decor specifically for me and my way of looking at things, I want to help the economy close to where we are working.
100%.
And then other than that, like you want people to be able to feel what it feels like to be in the area, right? So if you're looking at a certain area, there's obviously a reason you're going there. So you wanna bring that into the property and you wanna just use it
Yeah,
to help
I love that.
market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that it kind of reminds me when people are selling their house and you're looking at pictures online and you're like, oh, why didn't you stage your house before you put it on the market?
Exactly.
That's how I see a lot of Airbnbs. I was helping a client look for an Airbnb down in Indian Shores last week. We must have scrolled through about 50 different vacation properties in less than an hour. And 8 out of 10 were just at first quick glance no,
Mhm.
because she didn't like the way the photos showed. She didn't, if it, even if it, I could, there was one I remember in particular that you could tell it was actually done right, but the pictures were so dark.
Yeah.
It just felt depressing. And
Yeah.
she said, no, I can't stay there. It's too dark. And so that's the first impression. If I have never been into your vacation home, I don't know that there's actually really good natural lighting. I don't know that. I'm
Mhm.
going to keep on scrolling because guess what? The competition is high and there's plenty of other to choose from. So you have to think that way. You have to think as your customer before you even put your investment property on the market. So if you currently do have an Airbnb or a vacation home, just think about this approach because it's so important. Now, here's the backside of it, the systems for getting one family in and the next family leaves, that family goes, the next one comes in. There's systems for that. There's
Yeah.
ways to keep it organized. There's ways to basically educate the client on what there is to do in the area. There's ways to make it a very stress-free escape. One of the things I think about is times where I've stayed in an Airbnb and we have a family of 4 and there would be like 3 towels.
Yeah.
It's like
That's
simple
not okay.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, simple. And here's another thing, even if there was 4 towels
Yeah.
for a week is not enough.
It's not enough.
I don't want to be a slave to the washer and dryer when I'm on vacation.
Right. Me neither.
So
Yeah.
there's that. There's things like the beach accessories. Really important. My client again, she was looking through and she goes, oh, look at this one. They have a beach closet. That means like a wagon, beach chairs. What does that mean for them? It means they're not dragging it down to where they're vacationing. They're not trying to get it on a plane or having to buy it when they get there. You're the host, you're the local. Why not just provide it? It's not that much money.
Yeah. And that goes back to local flair. You're
Yes.
providing ways for them to get to these areas that you're promoting with your business.
Right. And I think our goal really would be for the property owner to have 5 stars every single time.
Mhm.
If they're getting the 5 stars, we did our job correctly.
Yeah. I was gonna say, if they don't, we didn't do our job
Yes.
correctly. So,
So we are going to be going for the 5 stars.
Yeah.
It's very similar to the podcast.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that will be really interesting and fun. But that is why we decided to go with elevated escapes because it's going to be places that we turn homes into escapes. That's what or homes into destinations is our tagline.
Yes.
Okay. Homes into destinations. And I think it can be the other thing that excites me about this business is that because we mentioned early in the show, we are empty nesters. I like to refer to myself as an open nester. I don't like the word empty. It's too sad. But open nesting season, it's like this helps us to be able to help more people, not just in our local geographical area.
Yes. Yeah.
So we can be mobile.
I'm excited about that too.
Yeah.
It'll give us the opportunity to travel, explore, and just spread our wings a little bit.
Yeah. It'll be fun. This is the next chapter.
Definitely. Definitely the next chapter.
Next chapter, and we're excited. So I want to wrap up the show with Amy's tips that you can share. So this is November, and if you're going to be hosting during the holiday season, I know I host a lot. You do too. I usually look at my house before I start all of those, dates on the calendar and kind of just say what needs a little refresh, a little zhuzhing. So what are some simple, easy things that the listeners can do right now before the holidays are here?
The biggest thing you can do is declutter, I would say. Declutter anything that's out of season, anything that you're not going to be using. This is the season where you're bringing so much into your house. So you want to have a plan. Planning is the biggest piece of this puzzle in any design. If you don't have a plan, it's going to flop one way or the other. I have plans. Like there's just there's no way to just do it on the fly and have it be perfect.
Yeah.
You're gonna waste a lot of time if you don't have a plan. But the decluttering, making sure that you have in mind exactly what you're wanting in the end will it'll make it easier for you to get there. So the plan. Beyond that, bringing in things that maybe have function as well as beauty, especially, you're hosting a lot, you're serving a lot. So anything decor related could be also functional. So you want to look at that. And then just not bringing in too much. Once you bring in too much, it goes, let's say, too much. What's that saying?
It drowns out
Yeah.
beauty.
Yeah.
It really
Less is
drowns.
more.
Yeah,
That's what
less
I'm
is
looking
more.
for.
Yeah.
Less is more. Yeah.
Less is more. I think too, I would add that set yourself up for success. So if you know you're hosting a lot this time of year and you need your wine glasses a lot, don't like go looking for the charms. Just have them on the glasses now. So when the first, group of people come through your house, you're not like scrambling to find them.
Yeah.
Or if you know you're going to be wrapping a lot of presents, set yourself up for success. A gift wrap station, everything you need, wrapping paper, tissue paper, scissors, tape, one little area. Maybe you can grab a little nook of your home and not have to put it away every time. Would be great. If you feel like you're going to, I'm huge on setting up the pantry this time of year with all the extras, the things when people pop over, maybe a quick dipped that you can make. Maybe you need extra paper plates. Maybe you need plastic silverware. Maybe that's not your thing and you need to clean up your good silverware. Just think through, how are you going to live for the next 2 months? And then get as much done now as you can. Don't wait until the day of a party, Saturday morning, and you're hosting that night to do these odds and ends things.
Yeah.
You're always, the day of the event, you're always going to have a lot to do no matter what. And I always look at it this way. If I am caught up and I don't have a lot to do, I'm going to take a little rest before they all come.
Yes, I've learned that the hard way.
Yeah.
A lot of times.
Yeah.
Now I'm definitely more intentional about how I set things up. And
Mhm.
even, another tip would be set up your table how you want it. Make
Mhm.
sure that you have everything that you need and that nothing's broken. And then you can leave it that way. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
When people come in, it gives them that, oh, this is so pretty and how
Yeah.
nice. And then also you're already set. So especially if you're doing a buffet style, they just have their place, they pick up their plate and they go.
Yeah.
And they come back and you have a sit down dinner that's beautiful, functional, and you're not stressed getting everything that everybody needs.
Yeah, very true. I personally always like to set up the guest to be as self-sufficient as possible.
Yeah.
Because once you're in the middle of a conversation or you're having fun at your own event, you'll forget that maybe, Joanne over there is new to the group and doesn't feel comfortable, asking you for another glass of wine. Have the wine out. Have it be like, even make a little sign that says help yourself.
Yeah.
Because then they feel like, okay, I'm not being rude by just helping myself. She actually told me to do that. Because nobody wants to just be the waitress the entire time.
Yeah. And especially, if you have different groups of friends that you're meshing together, it's hard to pay attention to who has what.
Yeah.
So if it's all out and set, you definitely have set yourself up for success.
Yeah. And I always say this, and we all know, if you've been following the show for a while, Christmas is my favorite time of year. You know that, Amy. It takes me a long time to get the house how I want it. So I start early, and I actually am laughing because the other day, I saw something on Instagram, like a meme, and I said to Josh, look, this is me. It says, if you decorate for Christmas early, you're probably a happier person. I was like, that would be me, because I love this time of year, but I really feel like, just why not drag it out a little more? And if it makes my life easier, if I had to decorate my house in one day, I'd be stressed out and I wouldn't enjoy it.
No.
So I just do a little bit at a time. It's kind of like, once the weather changes, I like that wintry vibe, like that woodsy winter is my jam. So I'll start filtering that into the house a little bit. It doesn't have to be like I'm putting Santa up the middle of November.
Changing out pillows.
Yeah. Just
very small touches bring in a feel that they don't scream Christmas or even Thanksgiving or Halloween. You get you get a fall season and a more winter season.
Yeah,
And then you can leave it out after too.
that's what I
you know?
love. Even the textures, like the
Yes.
textures of the blankets. Like I have some really like fur type of blankets that are only fun in the winter,
Yeah,
you
definitely.
know?
You can't leave those out all year
No,
long or it would be out of place.
right. And I usually do like to come up with like a color that I really want to accent with every year because I don't like to do the same thing every single year. I get bored.
Yeah.
So whatever I'm feeling, and then I just kind of accent that. And if I need a few extra things, I'll go get them, or I'll sometimes just look around and say, like I remember last year I had a lot more gold in, and I had to really move some stuff around to bring that
Yeah.
gold pop in the main living areas. But it's fun. Just make it fun.
It is fun. And that's another tip. If you keep everything pretty neutral every year, when you're adding a little bit, you're not reinvesting.
Right.
So a neutral palette to begin with, you're able to do that
Mhm.
easily.
Yeah. So any other tips?
I would say have fun with it. Don't
Mhm.
let it be stressful. I am super guilty of that because I have a lot on my plate and a
Mhm.
lot of shopping and a lot of, and so it starts taking away the meaning and the fun
Mhm.
of the season. So the earlier you start, the more you enjoy it, and I do agree. It makes you
Yeah.
a happier person.
Yeah. And you can say no.
And you can say
You
no.
can say no.
Make
And you
boundaries.
you can also, when I entertain, I'm not the type of person, and I'm never gonna claim to be that I want to cook every single dish. It's like, I'm happy to host, but everybody bring a dish to pass, and I will flat out say it.
Yeah, we do that all the time.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
and
I don't
everybody loves to contribute.
right. They actually nobody I don't think anybody has a problem bringing a dish to pass. They'd rather somebody else host. That's most people
Yes.
that don't enjoy hosting. I enjoy hosting. I just don't want to be cooking all day long for 3 days.
The same.
Yeah,
I'm
but
exactly
you
the
can
same.
come in my house whenever you want.
100%. The door's always open.
Yeah, I'm game for that. But I think this was good. And so if you want to check out the brand new website that just launched, it's elevated-escapes.com. Check it out. Let us know what you think. If you have questions about your own investment property, there's a little form. You can click the button, fill it out, let us know what you're looking for, what you need. We will be traveling all over the place, but we are going to push the Tampa Bay area pretty hard in the beginning. So if you are in the Tampa Bay area, we are there too, as often as we can be, right?
Yes, yes, especially during this time of year when
Yeah.
we're changing to winter.
Ew, I don't wanna think about it. Well, thanks for being on the Make Room Show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm glad I got to introduce you to my
Yeah,
audience finally. They're like, who's
definitely.
this Amy chick? And thanks to everybody that was watching or listening today. We appreciate it. And make sure if you found this episode interesting, you leave us a review, let us know. Feel free to reach out. And until next week, keep making room for what's most important to you.